in Kary's intro video that he shared with us last week, one of the stats that totally blew my mind was if you think about your smartphone, you touch, tap, or swipe over 2,800 times a day, right? And that interruption in your day as it relates to productivity or your ability to love others or your ability to be present in people's lives is totally can be an interrupting factor. So unlike most team meetings where we kind of go through a bunch of market stats and things like that, I'm totally turning over this morning to Kary, who's going to kind of pour into us. Kary is a doctor. He has a doctorate in transformational leadership. He's an author, coach, and speaker, helping people find their why. He's published 7 books. Him and his wife with 3 kids live in Ohio, and he is the sister to the awesomely, just an incredible person, Kary Oberbrunner. So Kary, I'll pass it over to you.
Great to see you all. It's awesome to be with you. I tell people, if you forget my name, I'm a bald guy with a girl's name. Okay, so that's how I see myself. It's great to be here with Sarah and Charlie. Thanks for the intro. This is going to be fun. It's not going to be a bunch of boring lectures, statistics. We're going to have a good time today. But let me just ask you a question. This is fun. There's no guilt. We're not giving any penalty points. But how many of you touched your phone before you got out of bed? Just put in the chat yes. Put in the chat yes if you did. And I know as real estate agents, you probably did, right? Look at somebody's Pedro says like 50 times. Awesome. So he was closing deals in bed. There you go. I don't think I saw a no yet. So if there's any no's, you can type those in. So I think we're batting 100% here. So there's no guilt, there's no shame. Natasha, good for you. Some of us have an alarm clock, and that's kind of how we justify having our phones with us. But let me just tell you from experience that my life was out of whack at points in recent history. In other words, we're going to share today about some really cool things about becoming unhackable, how you can become unhackable. But first of all, let's just talk about media. Media, we have so many things coming at us. Just so you just write this down if you want. Okay, this is a fun statistic. Human knowledge used to double every 1,000 years. Does anyone want to take a guess at how much human knowledge doubles now? So in other words, it used to double every 1,000 years. Somebody take a shot in the comments. How often do you think human knowledge doubles today? And if you're even close, someone's close. Kathleen's pretty close. Charlie got it. Charlie might have read the book, maybe not. Maybe he's just brilliant. He's probably both.
I watched your intro video. Where
Okay. All right. See, maybe I did say it on my intro video. Every 12 hours. Unbelievable. So here's what I want to ask you to. I want you to put in your biggest dream. Not yet, but in a moment. There's 98 of you. How cool is that? Here's what I know, that we've all been designed with a big dream. We've all been created. And maybe your big dream is to be a realtor. Notice I said realtor, not realtor. Did you catch that? I've spoken before to this group, this demographic, and the first time I did, they lit me up with realtor. So now I just say realtor. Is that right? Give me a thumbs up if that's cool. Is that cool? All right. See, I'm an insider. All right. Fantastic. So I grew up in Waukesha, grew up in Brookfield, New Berlin, West Dallas, the whole bit. I love the area that you're in. But here's what I know, that we've all been created with a big dream. And this big dream, many times we get hacked along the way. And I'm going to explain what a hack is. But if you go up to a little kid and you say, what do you want to be when you grow up? What's your big dream? Kids know better than adults. Is this true? Come on. Kids know better than adults. Kids are in touch with their dreams much more than us as adults. And because of that, they're more alive. Many of us, if we're honest, we kind of feel like we're walking through the life. You know, we're going through the motions. But I'm going to share with you a very cool little talk here that I prepared. I'm going to share my screen. Charlie, if you can make sure that I have that ability. Maybe I do. Can I share?
Yep,
We'll
you're
give
all
it a
good.
shot. Okay, very cool. So I'm sharing my screen here. Can you all see this? Give me a thumbs up if you can see it. Yeah? All right. Awesome. Well, we're going to talk a little bit about this today, but here's what I know. I'm so passionate about this. I spent 6 years researching this, okay? Because what I realized is that humans, me included, you included, if we're not careful, we're not going to be able to handle the pace of life anymore. And a lot of people are saying COVID was, you know, completely negative, and it was, and we've had people that we love pass from this perhaps. But COVID also made us slow down in some ways. This is actually a brain scan, and we're going to show you about a hacked brain and an unhackable brain, okay? So this is called a SPECT scan, and this is made famous by a guy named Dr. Amen, but we're going to talk about that for a moment. You might think, come on, is this just hype? Is this dude trying to sell a book? SPECT brain imaging literally scans blood flow, okay? So Charlie, I'm so glad he brought us on here today, but we know that if you can become unhackable, you're going to have a much better quality of life. And before I jump further, how many of you say, you know what, I'd like more purpose, more fulfillment, more freedom, more finances? Is there anybody who says that that's cool? Anybody? Yeah? Is there anybody who's like, I do not want freedom? Okay, I want to be poor. I want my life to suck. Is there anybody in that camp? Okay, if so, just click off, because we don't need any negativity, okay? CNN, constant negative news. We don't want any CNN today, okay? I'm joking. All right, let's keep going here. So this is a brain scan, and what they've determined is that literally blood flow in people, and I'm not saying, oh, if you have dementia, you're hacked, or depression, but here's what we know: addictions, even digital addictions. So it creates a certain blood flow. Some of us can't even stand to be away from our smartphones. In fact, in the book, I talk about how addicted we are. Let me just read some of this. It's totally shocking. Okay, you guys are adults here. We're going to get into some real stats here in a moment. But this affects productivity. It affects all kinds of things. Let's jump in here and keep talking. The average hacked brain only works 2.3 hours a day, okay? Half your day, half a day a week is duplicate work, all right? 36 times you check your email per hour. Is there anyone who's like, 36, man, I'm like 360. Anybody? 56 disruptions a day. In other words, we've become part of the machine. We're having 36 hours of our week, not you, because you're out with clients, but there's a lot of people that all their week is meetings. 11 minutes of focus per day. And 44% of distractions are self-inflicted. Now, here's why I'm going to share this, okay? What happens, folks, is that we get overwhelmed. How many, you don't need to raise your hand, but I know this is true. A lot of us are overwhelmed. Some of us right now, not calling anybody out, but you're checking Facebook right now. Come on now. You're on Instagram. You're like, who's this bald dude, man? What's up with the Packers, right? Listen, what we've done as a society is we can be in multiple places at one time. Now, we think that's an advantage, but you ready for this? There's no such thing as multitasking. It's called switch tasking. Switch tasking is where you try to do two cognitive things at the same time. So I'm not talking about women. Women are amazing at switch tasking, right? Come on, women. But here's what I know. You can do two non-cognitive things at the same time, meaning you can literally mow the lawn and be listening to an audiobook, because one is done with subconscious. I mean, come on now, right? You're not literally saying, oh, I got to keep the wheel. I got to keep the wheel. I got to keep the wheel. Your body, your brain goes on autopilot. So you're doing a subconscious thing and a cognitive thing. You can do that. But what you can't do is two cognitive things at the same time. In fact, when you try to do that, your IQ becomes worse than being stoned. You drop 40 points of your IQ. So some of you are maybe making bad deals and you're like, what's the problem? The problem is maybe you're trying to do two cognitive things at the same time. It will affect our sales. We won't pick up on cues from our clients if we are not fully present. In fact, the best sales technique, I'm in sales too, the best sales technique is when you are fully present. You will pick up so many things about your clients that are unique, intonations, inflections, and you'll be able to study them, and that is your superpower. But what happens is most of us are doing, does anyone know what the term fubbing is? Does anybody know what the term fubbing is? I didn't just cuss, okay? Fubbing. Here's what fubbing is. Fubbing is snubbing with your phone. Come on now, how many of us have done this? Fubbing is like Charlie's talking to me and I'm like, yeah, oh, yep, okay, I got you. And what happens is we do that all the time. Now, what happens when someone does that to you? When someone does that to us and we're sharing something deep and emotional, we're like, what a jerk. Why is that person doing that? So I'm just going to tell you, your relationships are going to massively improve after I share some of this stuff today, okay? Is everyone tracking so far? Give me a thumbs up if this is making sense. Is this interesting? All right, if it's not, don't give me a thumbs down. I'll have a self-image issue, okay? All right, I'm joking. Some of you are like, this dude's not funny, but that's why you're all muted, because I'm just pretending you're laughing, okay? All right, let's keep going here. Can you see my, let's go back to my screen here for a moment. Go to Zoom, and here we roll. All right, 84% of you are stressed out, 67% burned out, 67% disengaged, 70% chronically distracted. Here's what we do. Here's what I was going to tell you. We have such overwhelm in our lives that we actually find dopamine hits from our phone. So let me just say, have you ever done this? Trust me, I've done this, where it is so intense at work. I'm just like, I just need to check my phone. What's going on Facebook? And what happens is you get a dopamine hit. There are people in boardrooms right now at Facebook and TikTok and Instagram. There are people that are saying, how can we make our platform more addictive? You know that? These games that they create, what they're basically saying is, how do we get people paying attention? Now think about that for a moment. Marketers used to care about your wallet. Now they don't. They care about your attention. We live in what's called the attention economy. They know that before you pay cash to them, you pay attention. Does this make sense? This is why your phone has notifications and alerts and little red buttons. And oh, look, since I've been here, I've gotten 2 notifications. And see, every day we get up and we handle more information that was handled in people's lifetimes in previous generations. Did you catch that? You are literally encountering more information today than some people got within their whole life. That's shocking. Now we're going to get some good news here in a moment, but what if you could have what's called an unhackable brain? An unhackable brain where you literally got into what is called 6 hours of flow. Flow, if you Google it later, it's the optimal state of human performance. It's where you do your best and you feel your best. In fact, flow is literally why we're seeing huge leaps in extreme sports. Do you know that they used to only surf 20-foot waves, and that was like shocking? For 1,000 years, they surfed 20-foot waves. Today, the largest wave is over 80 feet. Now, either humans evolved in years and we've upgraded, or we've realized we're tapping into another state of consciousness called flow. And if you think this is woo-woo, I'm just going to tell you that flow, you've all experienced microflow. How many of you have ever talked with an old friend and literally 4 hours went like that in 4 minutes? Anybody? Raise your hand if that's you. Anybody? Yeah, all right. I can only see like 5 of you on my screen, but the nice, attractive lady with glasses there, and you just waved your hand, so thank you. All right, what about you, Charlie? Yes, 4 minutes, 4 hours? Seems like that before? That's literally because time dilation. We're gonna talk about that in a moment. But an unhackable brain is strategic, result focused, purposeful, consistent, uses the brain, check this out, not to store. Some of you are trying to use your brain to store information, and it makes a really bad storage. And the older you get, what you need to do is use your brain to think. What if you were relaxed and composed and 50% of your day was in flow? Let's get into some of this right now, and enough of the stats. Let's get into some practical things here. So there's Charlie and everything. I'm going to bring up my other PowerPoint here. Anybody have a question so far? Mary Beth says good stuff. Weigh in. I want to hear somebody audio, because this is not just one way. I want to hear. Does anybody say like, duh, of course, Kary, like give us the good stuff? Or are people saying, man, I didn't even realize this? What do you think? Somebody give me a verbal.
I think it's interesting you talk about flow as it relates to optimal state of human performance.
Yeah.
And it's very evident when you come out of it, right? Of like, holy shit, that was productive, or holy cow, that was,
yeah.
I got a lot done there.
Yes.
And I think it's harder to find to get into it, right?
Yes.
So we call lag metrics or lead metrics. It's easy to find once you've come out of it. It's harder to find how to get into it.
Oh, that's good. What if I told you there was flow triggers? Would that be pretty cool?
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about some flow triggers here, okay? I'm going to go rapid. Anything I say, is in the book, so don't worry. I'm going to give you all a free sample of the book today as well. So I'll drop that in the comments. I'll give it to Charlie as well. So you're all going to get, because the book's not even out yet. Well, let's jump right in, and let's talk about this. Has anybody here ever said the word abracadabra? Anybody? I did as a kid. Do you know what it means? I didn't know what it means. This is shocking. Okay, so you can go home tonight and tell your friend or loved one, hey, what does the word abracadabra means? And you can say, I'll pay you $5 if you know. All right, and they will not know, trust me. So you ready for this? I create as I speak. Is that pretty cool? Abracadabra means it came to pass as it was spoken, or I create as I speak. Pretty sweet. All right, now, why is that cool? Because I believe that that's what we were created to do. That's who we were created to be. Now, if you're a person of faith, that's cool. I am too, but if you're not, that's cool too. But trivia later on, you can Google this. This is true. Abracadabra is made up of 3 Hebrew names, Father, Son, Spirit. Boom. That's pretty nuts. That's pretty nuts. But it's in all languages, and it means it came to pass as it was spoken. And I believe that that's who we were created to be. We were created to have ideas and then get them done. In fact, check it out. Psychologists say that the happiest people in life, get ready for this, you ready? The happiest people in life are the ones who see progress to their goal. Think about that. Is that true or what? If you have a goal and it gets blocked, I did enough psychology work that I know, and by the way, I'm sitting in my wife's office. She's a counselor. Check this out. Anger, this is great counseling for you. This is free today. Counseling will say that anger is from a blocked goal. Anytime you get angry in life, anytime you have anger, say to yourself, what goal is being blocked right now? So somebody takes your parking space, they just blocked your goal of parking faster. Your teenager makes you angry, instead of just saying, you made me angry, by the way, that's victim mindset. Victim mindset is the world happens to me. Charlie, you're gonna like this here. You ready for this? There's two types of people in the world. And I'm not talking about people who've been victimized. My heart goes out to those people. I'm talking about a mindset. Victors wake up every day, and here's what victors say. Victors say, I happen to the world. So I don't care what Trump said. I don't care what Biden said. I don't care what the government says. I don't care what the interest rates are. I don't care what the bank loan says. I happen to the world. When you have that type of mindset, you feel empowered, you feel alive, you feel on fire. And that's my whole brand, Souls on Fire. This is really cool. Write this down. This is good. Victors say, I'm going to put my oar in the water, OAR, and make progress. Does anybody know what OAR stands for? I'll give you a hint. Ownership is the first letter for O. Ownership. Does anyone want to guess what the A is? Go ahead, put it in the chat if you know. And I can't see the chat, Charlie, so you read it out if anybody gets the A. Does anybody get the A?
Accountability.
Yes. Look at this group. I knew this was the rock star group.
Shout out to Ross Trefford.
Hey, what does the R stand for?
Results.
I like it. I like it. I like what Alyssa said too, relations. I like what Katie said. Responsibility. Alex got it. So ownership, accountability, and responsibility. Those are the victors that say, I happen to the world, and they put their oar in the water and move forward. Now, what do victims say? Does anyone want to guess? They don't say, I happen to the world. What does a victim say? You can either say it or type it. What is a victim?
It's your fault. You
It's
made
your
me
fault.
do it.
That is the truth. They say, get this, they say, the world happens to me. The world happens to me. And let me tell you what, folks, that's a victim mindset. I'm not talking about somebody who's been victimized. My heart goes out to them. I'm talking about a mindset. And I've been a victim and I've been a victor. But here's what happens. When you wake up every day and you have a victim mindset, you feel defeated, you feel discouraged, you feel depressed, because here's what we know. You don't feel like you have control. And when you don't have control in life, you create circumstances that imprison you. Now, Sarah knows this. I literally take people to Shawshank Prison because it's near my house. And when I do masterminds and coaching, I take them to Shawshank Prison because it's 90 minutes from my house. And now you really think I'm weird. But here's what I do. I get them into the prison cell and we do some work together. And I say, what do these bars represent for you? And they're like, oh my gosh, the bars are what my teacher told me that I will never make it in life. And I say, well, how long has that thing been holding you back? My entire life. Every time I get on a sales call, that little voice pops up in my head that says, you can't do it. You think that's going to affect your joy, your results? Absolutely. Here's what victims do. Victims lie in bed. I'll tell you, does anyone guess what the B stands for? Type it in or say it. If you can guess what the B stands for, or the E, or the D. Blame. Amanda, good job. I feel like I wish I had candy. I used to be a youth pastor. I'd give out candy. Amanda, you just got a Snickers, okay? Who's got E? Somebody type it in or say it. What does a victim do? What do they make? They make
excuses.
Excuses. And they live in D? Anybody? Denial. Paula, good job. You just got a Twix, okay? This is the Zoom candy giveaway here. So victims lie in bed, blame, excuses, and denial. Victors put their oar in the water, ownership, accountability, and responsibility, move forward. Now listen, I could just stop there and we could have a team training on that whole thing and say, where in my life, where in my sales process, where in my clients have I made blame, excuses, or denial. And you could literally up your performance that way, but we're not going there today. Just saying, later on you can do that. And you can actually train your kids. This is something kids can learn. So here's what I know. In my scope of the world, I believe we were created in God's image, our Constitution, you know, it says that, and Declaration of Independence, all that stuff. But here's what I know. You were supposed to have ideas and you were supposed to implement them. And when you do that, does anyone know the slogan for Disney? Does anyone know? Is anyone like a massive Disney fan? What is the slogan for Disneyland, Disney World? Does anybody know? Because I'm telling you, Walt was onto something. Okay. He says that they changed their messaging, but here's what it used to be. Yes, Diana got it. What it used to be, I believe, was the happiest place on earth. Think about that. The happiest place on earth. And now Diana says the new slogan, which it is, the place where dreams come true. From all psychology, you ready for this? Walt was right. In other words, the happiest people in life are the people who see their dreams come true. Make sense? So I want you all to have a life that's happier. So let's talk about this. You're supposed to have this: dream, do, ideate, implement. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. Abracadabra. Let's do this. Boom. Let's get this sale. Boom. You're supposed to have that. But unfortunately, this is what happens for most of us. Ideation, stagnation, or ideation, frustration. Can anyone say you've been there before? I've been there. I have been there. So what's the answer? Distractions. The reason why your dreams are not happening is because you're getting distracted. Seriously, how can you accomplish your dream when you have 11 minutes of focus a day? Right? How can you have your dreams come true when you touch, click, swipe, or tap your smartphone 2,600 times a day? In other words, that is what is getting us hacked. And you might say, what is this dude talking about? Some of you are like 2,600, man. I'm at 5,400. Yeah, heavy users are 5,400, okay? Pedro was making deals this morning, okay? And here's what we know. 5 hours a day, we're spending 5 hours a day on screens. That's 1/3 of waking hours, and usually it's 30-second bursts. So this is not like, oh, I'm just sitting on the phone for 5 hours. Let me ask you, does any of you want a surgeon to be doing your surgery while they're checking their smartphone? Okay. I just had a procedure recently. It's one of those procedures. You know what I'm talking about? I did not want the guy on his smartphone doing that because, you know, I wanted excellence, and we know that we can't be excellent. So why do we give the leftovers to our clients, our families, our friends? Enough shame. Let's get into some hope here in a moment, okay? But most of us are doing distracted work, not deep work. And here's just some things. I mean, you can just see the average person today sees 5,000 ads a day. And this is just in your subconscious. You don't literally see it, but you walk. Look, I just saw Smoothie King. You guys have Smoothie King? I love it, okay? But that's an ad. You make 226.7 food decisions. This is why at the end of the day, you feel fatigued. All the research shows that you have a certain amount of decision energy per day. And what happens is the longer you go through your day, you have what's called decision fatigue. Now, you want to hear something shocking? They've done a research where they said, do more people get the death sentence before lunch? I'm serious. They did a study that said, do more people get harder sentences before lunch, or at the end of the day, or at the beginning of the day? What do you guys think? Does anyone say, hey, they're going to get an easier sentence early in the morning? Yes. I mean, imagine that. You're on the trial and you get a bad deal, and it's because the dude was decision fatigued. That's not cool. All right, here's what I know. A life of distraction will never produce a life of meaning. All right, So let's get into some, I had talked about switch tasking. It's a myth. It decreases productivity. It decreases your IQ. I got, I'm going to get into some good news here. We're going to blow through this. Okay. Unhackability. Here's what unhackability is. Unhackability is the new secret weapon of super achievers. Truly, the people in this world that are going to make the most impact, the most influence, the most income, have the best relationships are the ones who can become unhackable. And by the way, that doesn't mean throwing out your smartphone. Technology is not the enemy. Okay, technology is not the enemy. We're using technology now. How hypocritical would it be? Now, I got all these results. I'm not going to talk about them because we have limited time, but I believe in this so much that I was able to partner with Hollywood celebrities at Shawshank to release my book, create an international brand, and set a world record. Now, normally I talk about all this. Here's all the photos, blah, 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 all the results. But anyway, I can show you the results later, okay? What I really want to talk today is about you, okay? No one needs to hear about my results. I love what Kathleen said, willpower is limited. So let me ask you a question. What would need to happen to make these next 30 days your most amazing month on planet Earth? This is an exercise that if you literally take 30 seconds to do this, your life is going to be upgraded. And I'll tell you why. People who write down goals, you know the research, they're more likely to achieve them. Just write down, humor me. And I know my friend, one of them is in his car. Thank you for being here, sitting in your car. I see you with the Coca-Cola trucks behind you. What dedication. Man, I've done a lot of things, videos in my car, the whole thing. So what dedication. But here's what I know. If you can write this down, or at least speak it into your smartphone, or do something and then write it back when you get home, you're going to have more likelihood that you're going to do it. Here's why. Because you're a person of integrity. And when you see what you wrote, your subconscious says to you, Charlie, we can do this. Katie, we can do this. Ellen, we can do this. Pedro, we got this. But when you kind of keep it nebulous and fuzzy, you don't have any accountability. So is there anybody who says, you know what? I'm going to write it in right now in the chat. What would need to happen to make the most amazing 30 days on planet Earth? Can you write it in? Anybody? Somebody take a stab. Be vulnerable. Get my first listing. John, that is powerful. Absolutely. Thank you, John. We're going to give you a Girl Scout box of Thin Mints, okay, virtually. You just received one. Anyone else? So John's the only one with a dream here today. Come on now. And it could be personal. We're not going to share it anywhere. It could be talk with my, teenager who's blowing me off. I mean, whatever. But think about what would need to happen the next 30 days. Anybody else? Not giving what's left at the end of the day to my family. Ross, awesome. Thank you. Get to boot camp twice a week. That sounds like intense CrossFit stuff or something. Maybe not. Mary Beth, good job. All right, I love it. I'm seeing the whole thing light up. Well, here's what's going to happen. Your dream's not going to come true. I mean, how rude is that for me to say that? What's your dream? And then it's not going to come true unless you become unhackable. Okay, so let's get into some practical things here. People are scared of getting hacked. Now, this is really cool. For some of you sci-fi people, this is pretty cool. We think of a computer or phone getting hacked. In other words, the actual definition of a hack is when someone gains unauthorized access to a computer or a system. That's what getting hacked means. But here's what we know. Okay, think back to biology class. Whoa. Are you with me? Remember, a hack is when someone gains unauthorized access to a system or a computer. And what is your body made up of? Systems. And what is your brain made up of? It's a supercomputer. That means that the scariest thing in the world is not your bank account getting hacked. It's not your phone getting hacked. It's not your computer getting hacked. It's your brain getting hacked. It's when you let someone or something gain unauthorized access to a system or computer or your brain. And what's the cost of that? your dreams, your actual dreams. In fact, check this out. Does anyone know the answer to this? This one is a cousin's sub. We don't have those here. I've been craving one. Okay, cousin sub. Some of you guys are like, oh, I drive by those every day. If you're from Ohio, you don't get those. So this is a turkey cousin sub, virtually. Who's got the answer? The most damaging thing in the life of a child is it alcoholism? Is it abuse? Is it abandonment? No. You ready for this? The unlived life of the parent. Whoa. Carl Jung said that the kid who sees their parent or grandparent or loved one or niece or uncle or nephew or whatever, the young kid who sees the adult who's living the unlived life says to themselves, what hope do I have? What hope do I have when mom or dad comes home, grabs the remote, says, don't bug me, let me just veg out. Does anyone know what veg is short for? Let me just veg out, right? Don't we feel that at the end of the day? I mean, an intense day. Let me just veg out. What does veg mean?
Vegetable.
Right. Vegetable. What is the brainwaves of a vegetable? Wow. So check it out. What we're basically telling our kids is, don't talk to me. I need to become brain dead. I need to become brain dead so that I can make it up and go back at work tomorrow and do the hustle and do the grind. Is anyone ready for something else? Type in good news. Type in good news if you're like, dude, what the heck, man? I want some good news. Type in some good news, okay? All right, Paula's like, come on now. Give me some good news. Okay. And I say, what is the unlived life? The person who got hacked. Because here's what I know. No parent wakes up and says, you know what? Today I want to live the unlived life. You know, that's my goal. Jimmy, here, watch me live the unlived life. No. So something is hacking us. Now, we say these excuses, the economy, time, distractions, nobody will promote me, nobody will buy from me. What do all these things have in common in the white? What do all these things have in common in the white? Economy, time, distractions, nobody.
Is it the victim mentality?
Victim mentality, exactly. And Catherine said things we can't control. Ross said it. Bed. See, look at Charlie. This group is smart, man. They're already taking the content and applying it. So, you know what? I used to say all those things. I used to absolutely, the economy, that I don't have time, blah, 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 blah. You already got it. If you like a visual, screenshot this puppy, put it up in your office, if you need it. All right. By the way, I quote everyone that I quote. I can't find whoever originally said this. So this is not my own, this little chart here. I looked and looked and looked and looked. So I just got to say, you know what? It came from above. All right. So that's the that's the bed. We either live below the line in life or we live above the line. If you follow Urban Meyer, he wrote a book called Above the Line. Head coach at Ohio State was, but he built his whole team around, his national championship team around living above the line. Imagine if Keller Williams said, you know what? That's below the line talk. Let's live above the line. Oh, Brad says OHIO. All right, there you go. But I do love the Packers. I'm just being honest. All right, now this is interesting, folks. Charlie, I have so much I want to share today, and I got like 18 minutes, but I'm going to try to go fast, okay? But here's what I'm going to do. At the end, I'm going to give you all a sample chapter of this immediately. In fact, don't go anywhere when I'm done because I'm going to give you that. And then I'm going to ask you if you like this. My passion in life is to change lives. And I know that this book, I've written a lot of bad books. I'm just being real. Like the books are like, This is the book that I feel is going to change our school systems. It's going to, listen, the world's gotten hacked. Is this true or what? The world woke up in January 2020 thinking everything's fine. And then all of a sudden, Corona. And then all of a sudden, racial tension, economy, politics. We are a country right now in America that has gotten hacked. We've absolutely gotten hacked. And you know what? We need to become unhackable. So I'm deeply passionate about that. I want you to think about all the people who need to hear this. And if you say, Kary, Christmas is coming eventually, I'm going to get a bunch of copies and I'm going to give them as Christmas gifts. It'll change someone's life much more than a sweater. I'm just saying, sweaters are nice. All right, check this out. How many of you have ever seen 60 Minutes or, this type of thing? I was watching this in 2016. Again, I've been researching this book for 6 years, and I watched this show about people's cars getting hacked. Okay, so they literally took people, the announcers, and they said, hey, just drive a car and somebody over there is going to hack your car. And they did, and people freaked out, and they drove them off the road, and it was no one was hurt. But I said, oh my gosh, that's exactly what happens when people get hacked in life. So you ready for this? You might say, what's the cost of getting hacked, Kary? You can screenshot anything. You can pass it around. I'm happy to share this content. I'm happy if you spread it around the dinner table today, post it on social media, but watch this. The first thing you lose is control. Just like those people who were driving the car and, oh my gosh, the car went off the road. When you get hacked in life, you wake up and all of a sudden, boom, you read an email from someone and they rip you to shreds, or someone comments on your Instagram and they're like, who the heck do you think you are? You get hacked. You get hacked. First thing you lose is control. Then you lose clarity. Then you lose competence. Some of you right now are struggling as realtors. You're saying, where's my mojo? I lost my magic. Where is the spring in my step? Man, I had a run of bad sales. I'll tell you what, you got hacked and we're going to help you today. Okay? Then you lose confidence, insight, influence, impact, and income. Now, don't worry, I'm not going to go anywhere with these slides, but this is what's called the hack attack. Okay, this is all in the book. And what it does is it basically says that when you get hacked in life, these are the 8 things that you lose. Now, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere with the slides, but because I know Katie's writing them down fast. Thank you. But let me tell you here's what you say about yourself. See, this is where the enemy really gets us. If you lose control, who cares? But here's what you start. You start saying I am statements. I am not in charge. You lose clarity. You start saying I am confused. Is this true? How many of you, come on, if you're honest, you're like, you know what? I just feel really confused. You're probably in a hack attack, and the fact that you even acknowledge it is a big win. So rather than beat yourself up, and I love to read names, but I can't see it because of the screen. So I'm just going to say Bill. I'm sure there's a Bill here. Okay. Or a Steve. Okay. I'm sure there's a Steve here. Bill and Steve, when you start saying these things about yourself, say, oh, hold on. And then say, I'm catching it. I'm aware. I'm getting hacked. And then here's what I want you to say. These are 3 powerful words that I teach all my clients. You ready for this? Instead of saying, crap, I always get hacked. I'm such a loser. No. Use these 3 words. Up until now. Wait, up until now. Yeah, that's 3. I'm not good at numbers. Up until now. So say, up until now, I've gotten hacked. Up until now, I've been confused. And what it does is it gives you permission to create a new future. You see, some of you are living in your past and you're saying the last 20 years, man, I've done this, and this. Stop cursing your future. Stop saying back there is what I do. That's who I am. No. In my favorite book, it says that every morning is a new blessing. It says that, this is the day that God made. Listen, this is a new day. It's a gift. It's a gift. So if you start saying, I'm not good enough, hold on. You're getting hacked. Ooh, I am an imposter. Folks, I walk into sales meetings sometimes like that, where I'm like, who do I think I am? This person is huge. This person is such a big following. And I'm going to go in and talk to them. Who do I think I am? And I'm like, hold on. I'm getting hacked here. What about insight? You start saying, I have no inner vision. I have no effect on others. I have no credibility. And I have no currency. Okay? So how do you change it? How do you change it? Because here's what the enemy's going to do. The enemy wants you to say, I am nobody and I have nothing. What kind of houses do you have to show? I got nothing. What kind of new deals? I got nothing. Who do you think you are? Nobody. See, anytime you start dreaming big, man, I got so much I got to share with you today. There's a whole little story about crabs. Crabs and how they escape the cages. This is a true story, okay? What they do is they put a little bait in these crab cages. And what happens is the crabs walk by and they start jumping in and say, oh my gosh, the party's here, the party's here. And they start eating all this food in the crab cage, all right? And then what happens is one of them says, there's no more food, I'm out of here. And what happens is they start crawling up the side. Do you know what the other crabs do? They pull it down. This is some of you. Some of you got in a trap and you're climbing out, and my buddy in the car is shaking his head, thank you. You're like one of 5 people I can see. Thanks for affirming me. I feel good. But that crab's climbing up, and what they do is they pull it back down, and here's what they do. If it continues to climb out, they rip its claws off and they kill it. It's a true story. What I'm saying is you are the exception. You might have came from a neighborhood, a family, a system, an environment, an economy, a belief system, a mindset that says, who do you think you are, Roger? Who do you think you are, Sally? You can't climb out of here. You think you're going to be number one. You think you're going to help your family, blah, 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 blah. And so here's what the enemy does. The enemy says this. So here's what I want you to do. Take a screenshot of this and repeat tomorrow the opposite. I am in charge. I'm not confused. I am good enough. And what this isn't hype and mumbo jumbo. Here's what I'm going to tell you about. Okay? We don't get what we want in life. We get what we argue for. Ooh, that's deep. That's deep. We don't get what we want in life. We get what we argue for. So, Patty, do you want a good life? Absolutely. Do you want to help your kids? Absolutely. Do you want to make a lot of sales? Absolutely. Then why are you arguing for what you don't want? What do you mean? Somebody in your company says, I want to mentor you. I want to help you get better. Oh, you don't want to invest in me. And you push them off. Oh, I don't need your help. You're arguing for that which you don't want. So start arguing for what you do want. Okay? We're going to go fast here in our last few minutes. All right. Here's the whole point of the book. The whole point of the book is that I show you in the book how to become unhackable. And it's built around 3 things: idea, focus, and flow. Idea, focus, and flow. Check it out. Idea is knowing, focus is being, and flow is doing. This literally is a secret weapon. I've gone out and looked at the military. I've looked at athletes. We have NCAA head coaches that have endorsed this book for their teams. What I'm saying is that there's a new way of thinking, and I'm going to give you big terms, but just hang with me. It's called flawless idea anatomy. In other words, why did JFK get his idea to work, Man on the Moon? Why did Jesus Christ get Sermon on the Mount to work? Why did Martin Luther King get the I Have a Dream speech to work? Because he used certain components called flawless idea anatomy. And again, I'm going to give you a gift today and get you rolling on the book. It's a section of the book, and if you want the rest, grab it. But here's what I know. Flawless idea anatomy. Some of you, you're not dreaming big enough. Do you realize that it doesn't take any more brain power to think that you can earn $10,000 or $1 million? You know what I'm saying? Your brain doesn't go like, whoa, hold on. That took more brain cells. No, the point is that you and I are thinking and dreaming too small. Because here's what I know, write this down. This is really good. The purpose of a goal is not achieving the goal. Hold on. Whoa, whoa. The purpose of a goal is not achieving the goal. You ready for this? This like blew my mind. It's becoming the person you need to be to achieve that goal. Whoa. You mean Michael Phelps' goal wasn't just to get gold medals? No. Michael Phelps' training was, who do I need to become in order to be awarded the gold? Does this make sense? Wow. I mean, this is deep stuff. Then the second component is focus, deliberate magnetic focus. Here's the little illustration I'm going to give for this, okay? You ready for this? This is super cool. By the way, dude in the car, what's your name, man? I'm talking to you. They always say as a speaker, you got to pick one guy who's smiling. So I'm what's his name, Charlie?
Spencer.
Spencer. All right. All right. So Spencer's my new target audience. Okay. Thank you, Brad. Okay. So focus. We're going to wrap up with a couple things here. You're on a beach, oceans, birds. You're loving it. You're reading your favorite book. It's probably this. I'm just saying, maybe. Okay. Or maybe it's something else. But you're reading your favorite book, and here's what happens. You fall asleep. And you're like, oh man, you wake up 3 hours later and you touch your skin and it feels burned. Oh my gosh, you got burned. 3 hours under the hot sun and you got burned. What would you have needed in your hand? This is a weird thought, I know. It's kind of sick, it's kind of gross. But what would you have needed in your hand to burn in 3 minutes, not 3 hours? Anybody? What would you need in your hand if you wanted to burn in 3 minutes versus 3 hours? In other words, amplify the energy. What would you need? Yes. Somebody said a kettle prod. No, Charlie, that's good though. Annie's right. A magnifying glass. But I love the kettle prod. I'm going to use that one. But listen, same sun, same skin. What changed? The focus. Folks, you've been created to have this laser ability to achieve your dreams. And here's what I know. You can achieve anything you want, but not everything you want. Ooh, that's deep. You can achieve anything you want. Now, some of you are like, well, can I make it on a starter on the LA Lakers? Come on now. Okay, you know what I'm saying. I'm never gonna play with LeBron. Okay. But what I'm talking about, this is really going to blow your mind. Any dream you have, ready for this? We got about 3 minutes left. Any dream you have, you've already created it once in your mind. Think about that. Think about that. Any dream, anything that you see right now, this was created twice. Once in the mind of the designer and once in reality. This was created. Steve Jobs had to create this iPhone in his head first. Everything that you can believe right now, you've created it once already. Think about that. Everything. No squirrel sitting out there saying, you know what? I imagine a house. This is an only thing that humans can do. We imagine it and we create it once first. So it's already created first. Unhackability shows you how to create it twice. So literally, we talk about focus filters. And I'm just going to drop one on you. Urgency. Urgency is a focus filter. And I know this for a fact because anytime a professor assigns something to you, you didn't do it, right? Until the deadline. And so then the night before the assignment or the week before the assignment, you just cranked it out because of the deadline. This is why your sales happen at the end of the, right? Deadlines. What if you could take that focus filter called urgency and put it in to your day? And that's just one of the focus filters. I don't have time to get in all of them. And then last thing, flow. Flow is the optimal state of human performance. And just to give you a couple flow triggers, because I promised you I would. You ready for this? Unpredictability is a flow trigger. In other words, when you in life have a life of predictability, you do not get into flow. So when you have some unpredictability in your life, it causes your brain to step up what's called the challenge competence ratio. Too much and you snap, but what you want is stretch. And some of you aren't having stretches in your life, and that's why you're living a life where you get hacked, because you don't even need to show up in your own life. True? All right. Another focus filter. Let me give you one more. Got to pull it out here. We got unpredictability. We got novelty. This is why people love to travel. They say, oh my gosh, I just got to get away from Wisconsin. And again, Wisconsin's great. But they want novelty in their life. Why? Because it's a flow trigger. You start showing up in your life differently. Charlie, I'm out of time, my friend. And again, this is going to be a big, crazy movement called Unhackable. We already have educators that are excited, and they're doing unhackable schools, unhackable educators. I want to do unhackable realtors, but it's a way of looking at life, because we know that we cannot keep up with all the distractions. I'm going to drop in the free link here for everybody to get the sample chapter. I'm going to hand the floor back to Charlie. Grab this link, and here's my request. Share it everywhere. And John's right. Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, a Hungarian dude, wrote about flow. So trust me, I'm not the one who just came up with flow. This has been researched for years, but here's what: nobody's ever put idea, focus, and flow together and talked about unhackability. So grab that link, share it everywhere. It's the introduction. It's the note to the reader. It's day one. And then, Charlie, give me 60 more seconds, man.
You got time.
I'm going fast here. All right. I'm going to show you two things. See, I used to be a pastor, and I would always preach long. I'm just saying. Okay. But big shout out to Sarah and Charlie for helping me today. Now you can see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay.
Hey, Kary, while you're looking that up, when does the book come out?
Book comes out October 24th. And what I want to give you all today is this PDF. And it's the, it'll get you started. Okay. It'll get you started. Share it everywhere. I just want to change the world. And then if you really want, you can actually pre-order the book, and we're including a free 5-day course on unhackability with any purchase. So if you go to unhackablebook.com/book, and we have books up there now, and we've actually discounted them quite a bit. So I'm going to put that link there. But Charlie, thanks for having me. This group was great, and thanks for having me.
Kary, we sincerely appreciate you giving your time, talent, and energy to our group in Milwaukee, and knowing that, I thought your point on 2020 was so apropos, in the sense that there have been so many things that have hacked us, whether it's health, focus, relationships, discussions on race, politics, whatever it may be, and grounding ourselves in this concept of, how do we not allow something to overtake our processes or systems in order to achieve what we want to? And I think for me, the thing that brought it home was the relationship I have with my kids and what it means for my goals and how I show up for them, right? To motivate the next generation, to create change, to, embrace everything. So, Kary, we appreciate you. We thank you for your time, talent, and thank you for giving back to our group.
No problem. You guys have a great day. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Charlie. And go make it a great life. All right. Let me know if you need anything.
Hey, Kary, will you send me that the links and the PDF in an email?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I'll make sure I get it out to our group.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.